What is up, everybody? Welcome to the After Chat. Hello. Okay. So it's pretty simple how this works. What we like to do is help you get started in amateur radio. What happens inevitably? This hobby is so complicated and so deep that there are a number of things that you're going to get stuck with. It just happens. It's not a big deal. It happens to all of us. We've likely all gone through some matter of these similar questions. So we have the Discord. It exists for you to help get the answers you're looking for. We're going to take your questions live, but the Discord's 24/7. Man, I got all these burps coming up. The Discord is 24/7. You're able to ask your questions at any time. There's people out there all the time. It's like pretty much always online. So the link is in the description to join us on the Discord. We're going to go into the Discord right now and hear people chatting, talking about ham radio. And if you have questions and you'd like to ask them, well, take the link in the description of this video and join us on the Discord. And go down to hashtag live-stream and live-stream voice or something along those lines. Let me actually give you exactly what it's called. Live-stream/after chat. That's a little speaker next to it. That's a voice chat. If you set up your microphone and speaker, you'll be able to ask questions of us who are in the chat. And that's what we do first, is we go straight to you, those with questions. So let's hop into the Discord, say hello to our friends. How's it going, everybody? All right. We are kicking off the after chat here, and doing that, we like to go for whomever is here for the first time. We like to take your questions first. So if you'd like to just say hi and introduce yourself, that's great. But the floor is yours. If you're new here, I'd like to say hi, introduce yourself, and ask a question. That would be perfect. So anybody that fits that description, like to say hi? All right. We're all just old hat hams in here. If anybody, well, let's take another pass. Of course, what I mean is, if you're brand new here for the first time, like to say hi or ask a question, come now. We'll take your questions, comments, or whatever. Anybody? All right, well, we'll come back to the Discord. If there's anybody on the YouTube as well that has a question, or anybody just chatting that has a question, just type question or at Ham Radio Crash Course in YouTube side specifically, and it'll pop up, and we'll be able to see it, and we'll be able to talk to you directly and help you out. Yeah, so how's it going, everybody? Any comments on today's show or anything soldering related? Some pearls of wisdom that you have that you'd like to pass on? Yep. Not hearing. Oh, what the heck? All right, let me pull that up. Thanks for mentioning that. Oh yeah, it says it's not connected. That's weird. How about now? Go ahead, Discord. Somebody say something.
Testing.
Yeah, there you go. You're good. We got it sorted out. You're good. All right, YouTube, go ahead and do your thing. If you got questions, we'll try and have answers for you. What is enough? As far as radio goes, whew, I don't know. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yo, Josh, I got a question, homie.
Go ahead.
Well, so apparently the solar eclipse is gonna come. I mean, the solar flares is gonna come 1 year before. So it was expected on 2025, but it's gonna come apparently earlier, 2024, and
Are
then
you,
it's gonna gradually fade away.
you're talking about solar
Especially.
maximum?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Sorry
Okay.
if I don't know the terms.
No, it's fine. So a solar flare is just it's a one-time thing. There's many solar flares that happen throughout the year. You're talking about solar maximum. The sun goes on 11-year cycles of solar minimum and solar maximum. I don't know that they're advertising what year is going to be the peak because the sun is not something that's easy to just calculate. It's kind of just how she goes. It's trending upwards though, so keep that in mind. But go ahead with your question.
Thank you for teaching me the term solar maximum. I was thinking since it's gonna gradually fade away and then conditions is gonna get pretty much impossible for communications.
Nope, nope. Got to
No,
stop you.
no problem,
That's
no
not how
problem.
that works. Communications won't be impossible. Far from it. What happens is the higher bands will be less usable. The lower bands for HF will be perfectly fine. In fact, they will improve in solar minimum, and VHF and UHF is unaffected.
Roger, Roger. Thank you for that. I was thinking like maybe if that was the case that communications was gonna become pretty impossible.
Nope.
Does moon bouncing come into play, or am I being a little bit ridiculous right now?
Again, moon bounce is possible no matter if the solar is maximum or minimum, because generally with moon bounce, you're going to use line of sight capability. You're going to use modes and bands of transmission that would pierce through the atmosphere. So you want nothing to do with the atmosphere. You want high bands to be able to do moon bounce. So totally unrelated.
No problem. Thank you so much, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Josh, that was a good summary from my perspective. I would say that people often kind of overemphasize how much better the propagation is during the solar maximum. Yeah, the higher bands open up and the higher bands tend to be quieter, but you can certainly get some really good propagation off of the solar peaks as well. Is it as consistent? Not quite as much, but it's, something's almost always open somewhere. And then the other thing I would note is just that moon bounce is much more difficult than you probably think it is. It's the path loss on that is just so terrible that it's really difficult.
What made you want to bring up moon bounce as a viable way of communicating, and who are you trying to communicate with? Let's try and answer those questions.
Listen. I want to talk with Marvin the Martian. Okay, me and him, we have a little bit of a beef going on, and I need to settle this down. Okay, that's the problem I'm having, Josh.
Okay. Seriously though, what's the rationale behind wanting to do moon bounce?
So since I didn't realize that communication was not gonna become impossible. I
Oh,
was
okay.
thinking if communication becomes impossible, then we can use a natural satellite to communicate. But that was my 2-month-old ham brain. Okay, so you must
Oh,
understand.
gotcha. So the downside, you should probably pull up some videos of people working moon bounce. The audio is actually pretty difficult to hear. It's more of a people do it as a hobby, as a challenge within our hobby. They don't use it for consistent mode of communication. You as what are you, technician? You're technician, right?
Yes, boss, technician.
Yeah. So good news, we're rolling into the high solar cycle, so 10 meters is going to be fantastic for you for single sideband and for digital, as long as you stay within the technician portions. And you have VHF, UHF at your disposal to do all the voice and some data modes as well. That's going to be line of sight communication, but all of that is going to be totally fine and usable for you. So explore your privileges that you have now, and worry about that other stuff. A little bit later. Moon bounce is something that usually comes with some time and usually a lot of budget too. The antennas in particular can be a little expensive.
Yes, 100%. I've seen the tennis. I've seen the videos. It's like huge dish. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So definitely not for the faint of heart, particularly in cost.
But the thing is, like, just real quick, aurora effect is something that is also pretty interesting that I've seen.
Yeah, but again, pull up videos of people working Aurora. The audio is incredibly difficult to copy. It's something that comes with
That's what I
experience.
like about Aurora. I know
Oh,
that I
great.
recognize that it's difficult, but it's like pretty cool. It reminds me of like 90s anime. My bad.
90s, which anime? Because that's all I did was watch 90s anime.
Serial Experiments Lane. So when they
Oh
introduced
my
the
gosh.
episode,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I hear you. Okay. Right on. Well, hopefully I answered your question. If you have more, feel free to dive back in a little bit later. All right.
no problem. Thank you so much, old man. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. Anybody else in there? First timer would like to say hi or ask a question. Go ahead.
Hello,
I
this
have a
is
question.
Mark.
I heard the hello. This is. Let's start with them, and then we'll go to the second one.
Hello, this is Mark. I got recently licensed a week ago Friday
Ooh,
as a technician.
congratulations.
I'm working my way towards general now, about 30% through the question pool. My question is, currently right now I live on a second floor apartment, so I have
Mm,
a balcony above me and a balcony below me.
okay.
And I'm in the Carlsbad, California area. I'm looking to see about and getting an HF, I know I'm going to have to set up some sort of compromised antenna.
Yep.
And so I'm kind of wondering what my options are given that.
You have a couple of options. It's gotten mentioned many times, and in fact, let me pull up my web right now. I should have done this before we got started, but it's all right. We'll get that sorted. MFJ makes an apartment antenna, and I'm not saying this is a good option, but it is a serviceable option. It uses a 45-degree angle bracket and a loading coil that basically sends an antenna 45 degrees out from your balcony that you have. You have a balcony, right? I'm
I do.
I'm assuming if somebody above you has one and someone below you has one, you probably got one too. So you can have a vertical that goes out 45-degree angle from the railing of your balcony, and there's a coil of radial wire that you have to kind of loop around the balcony space. And that's serviceable, that's usable. Are there trees in your apartment complex by chance that are close by your balcony?
I mean, there are. I mean, there's some landscaping around it. I'm kind of surrounded, and I'm in the center of buildings, so
Yeah,
I would still kind of even at a 45-degree angle be poking up a bit above that tree line.
doesn't matter.
Um,
I
but
mean,
yeah. So it'd be good for 10 meter, right?
no,
Basically.
this is a 40 through 2 meter antenna. So you'll be able to do. I'll drop it in. Now again, I'm not saying this is a good antenna, but I think you have realistic expectations that there's probably not. You're going to have to go compromised. Somebody's got another one. Simple HF Radio Shack apartment. Okay, well you go look at that video too. But somebody mentioned a loop antenna. Loop antennas.
Yeah, magnetic loop.
So the downside.
Would I set it on a ground plane, like on the
No,
balcony, like on a
no.
maybe like a metal cookie sheet?
No, loops don't require magnetic loop antennas do not require ground planes. The downside of magnetic loop antennas is that they're highly affected by uh, local metallic objects, like a balcony, like probably the entire metal structure that is your balcony and all the adjacent stuff. And how that relates to being usable is that it can throw the tuning of it off and actually reduce the lowest kind of SWR and resonance spot for the mag loop has been my experience when I'm faced with
So
loop
the
issues.
metal would basically be doing like multipath propagation problems, causing
It's
signals
coupling
to.
with the antenna. It's coupling with the antenna and it's screwing with the your ability to tune it appropriately. Oh my God, there's a mosquito in here. Where did a mosquito come from? Aren't you all dead now? What the hell?
I'll eventually be getting up to Bend, Oregon. I'm living on a boot up there overlooking Bend. So and then I'll stand up a big antenna,
yeah,
turn
and
that place into a command center. But I'm
yeah,
stuck down here right now.
yeah. And Adam has a good point. Is you've always got portable. You've always got going out and setting up something portable, just a big long wire end fed half wave type of antenna would be great. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I
and things that would be used for like Poda soda, right? Like I could do things that would be well, I mean, I've got the height problem, right? Like it has to be compromised and it has to be a coil because I can't stand something tall up.
so 1 second. Same as Zoe says, I'll go find a chat for beginners. This is definitely a chat for beginners. You just have to come in there and ask a question. If you at me, Ham Radio Crash Course, or say question, you can ask your beginner questions. And Chris Radio and Life says nope at Ham Radio Crash Course. I don't know what that means. Please clarify. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead and say that again.
Oh,
Oh,
can you hear me?
I can now. Yeah. Now I
Yeah,
can.
I was just saying that I was going to have to set up a coil, but I have a height requirement. So yeah, the 45-degree angle is going to stick out past the balcony, right? So that'll make that work.
But that's okay. In
on
most
18s
cases,
right
nobody's
now.
going to complain about that. And if they do, you can just retract it and take it down. It's a temporary setup. It's not something that you're going to be stuck with for life. Somebody also mentioned, is there a downspout, like a gutter downspout that you might be able to get access to?
No, it's basically, I've got the sliding glass door. I've got drywall on actually drywall on one side, and then I've got, unfortunately, like an iron railing that goes on the other two sides.
How long's
I'm
the
on a
iron railing?
corner.
Yeah, how long's the iron railing?
I mean the length of the balcony, it's probably 10 feet, maybe.
Oh, okay. Probably you could tune it up, use a tuner, and work it that way, but it probably won't radiate very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm stuck on HT. Yeah,
No,
for
you're not.
now. And
No, not necessarily. Again, it's so let's put it this way: if you put up this MFJ antenna, you would be able to use FT8. You'd be able to do that. That wouldn't be a problem for you. How effective, how far are you going to get out? That will vary incredibly. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. All right. Plus, you can always just like get a clamping system of your own making and just put a vertical like whip on it and put it. You just need to angle it so it's pointed away from the house. Basically, you can use the railing as kind of like a radial / ground, the shield of the coax kind of thing. That might be a way to go. There's lots of options
okay.
there, but the thing to keep in mind, and I think you have realistic expectations, is that you're probably going to have not great propagation. And your reception also might be difficult as well.
Yeah, if I could get on 10 meter, I'd be happy. I hear you say that that's where, all the action is. So
Yeah, you should be able to do that with a ham stick. You can do that with a ham stick off of your balcony and a railing clamp, and that'll get you on the air. Ham sticks are super cheap. That's like $40, and then you just need the mount, and you can do that on your railing. It won't be any problem. And at most, those things are going to be like 3.5 feet, 4 feet tall. That's it. Yeah, for 10 meters.
appreciate it. Just to give you just a touch of background before I cut out is the I come from software engineering and security engineering background. I got a flipper, got a Hack RF porta pack, dropped
Nice.
it in a porta pack, and it kind of got me really interested in signals. And I did pen testing for a while, so I had this like love for word dialing back in the day, and this
Okay.
kind of scratches that same itch, like finding signals out there and trying to figure out what they are. And the software engineering background makes me want to write code to demodulate things. And I don't know. And then it got me into ham, and I'm like, why not? So I'm going to pursue this through Extra, and yeah, might as well go the distance on this. It's a really interesting thing to play around with in combination with I was a little dismayed at first when I found out that you couldn't do crypto but you can do crypto on other frequencies, and if it's low power you could experiment and research locally. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll drop a link to my Gigaparts page, and if you want to buy a ham stick, that's probably the best way. You can get yourself a Shark ham stick with a discount, 10% if you're interested. No pressure. So yeah, check that out.
Thanks for the time, everybody.
Yeah, right on.
Don't want to monopolize it.
No, you're good. That's why we're here. There's a couple of questions that came in on YouTube I don't want to forget. Recommendations for an HF vertical able to work 80 through 15. I have limited space to install it. Okay, so if you want a good vertical, then you're going to try to get away from having a loading coil, right? A loading coil is literally something that electrically shortens the antenna, but it adds Q, and it is not as effective as a radiator when you add, a coil to the mix. You can do a vertical like 40 meter antenna, but that's going to be pretty long, right? And 80 meters, that's even longer. You're talking about a quarter wavelength vertical in just straight shooting up. The DX Commander is an obviously really good multi-band vertical solution. It can do 80, but to do 80, you're generally going to have a bent L piece of wire, that shoots across and needs to go to like a tree or something like that. If you don't have that, you just don't use the 80 meter element. You just do 40 through, 15. Or what I would say is maybe don't worry so much about 80 right now. get 40 up and running, go all the way down to 10 meters. 10 meters is really, really good, especially during the day for making lots of contacts. That might be completely serviceable, and you'd save a decent bit of money too with going with the DX Commander because they're pretty inexpensive. Let's see. Anybody else have a recommendation on a vertical for an 80 to 15 through 80 through 15 meters? I got another thought, but I'll come back. Go ahead.
What about the chameleon verticals?
Yeah.
Don't those have?
No, go ahead. Keep going. I was just agreeing with you.
Don't those have? I think 6 through 80.
They do, but that is so it has a transformer in the body of that, which is it's still going to do fine. It's also a bit limited on power output. It gets hot, so if you're just working it at 100 watts a lot, it'll eventually start saturating. Not a big deal, so that varies. And again, Dennis, you're in the YouTube chat, so we would be going back and forth with you answering questions. But looks like people are saying a Wolf River coil, a Gap Titan. A Gap Titan is also an option. The only thing with the Wolf River coil, which I like the Wolf River, the problem with the Wolf River is you have to adjust it to be whatever frequency you want. So it's really hard to actually tune around the bands and have a bit of a, just fun dancing around a little bit because you're constantly kind of playing games with the antenna to adjust it and tune it. Good for portable operators, but not great for just your home shack antenna. Not from my point of view. Anybody else?
The chameleon is the chameleon's just got a broadband transformer at the base, and you can build the same thing yourself if you want with like a 9-to-1 unfed vertical wire. The more ground radials, the better. Just like any vertical, the longer the wire, the taller you make it, the better. If you can make it an inverted L shape and go up as high as you can, and then across to a tree and make the wire longer, it'll work better on the lower bands. But that's a pretty common and popular way to solve the problem. And one of the best things you can do for an antenna like that is a remote tuner and tune it right at the feed point so you have less loss in your feed line.
Absolutely. Yep, I agree. Let's see. Where is it? I'm sorry, Chris. I think I might have missed if you respond to me, I'll go back and look. Let me go back. We hit the Wolf River coil thing. The thing about verticals, particularly for outside verticals, is everywhere you think that you need a vertical, you could probably also get away with just using an end-fed half-wave. Just get creative in how you kind of deploy it. If it needs to go like up a tree and then kind of dog leg over to something else, like that's fine. That's not a big deal. You can totally do that. Oftentimes, you're probably better off just throwing up a long piece of wire or a dipole or like a off-center fed dipole. Generally is going to probably do better for you than trying to cook up an effective vertical solution, unless you're going with something like a DX Commander, which is, what I would generally recommend. All right, let's see. Let me see if I can catch up with what Chris was saying. Did you come back, Chris, with the description of Nope for programming? Oh, got it. So the TM733, we got an earlier question on that. I don't know if there's programming software for that. I don't even know what that radio is. It seems like an older radio. Questions?
What radio was that?
The Kenwood TM733. Hold on. Let me go back. Kenwood 733 Alpha. So there was another question on the Discord side. Go ahead with your question.
It was me. I've been watching for quite a while. I got Dicey. I'm kind of confused on the resonant antennas versus the end feds.
You are flying in and out of. Is your microphone? What are you talking to us on? Because it sounds like you're covering the microphone at points, and then we're able to hear you in other points.
That better?
A little bit, not so great. Try and say your question again. See if you can just stand still and ask it.
I had a question on resonant antennas versus the end feds. I was kind of confused on the balance.
Okay, so an end-fed half wave is a resonant antenna in almost all cases. And resonant antennas just means that at the frequency in which it's resonant, what is it, Adam? That the antenna becomes purely a resistive load? Is that the?
You got it.
That's it. So it just becomes purely a 50 ohm resistive load, and it is absolutely radiating all the power that you're putting through it that isn't lost within the coax. Realistically, there are very few situations where an antenna is 100% resonant. It's pretty much impossible just based off of the ground and the environment that we're in. But we try real hard to make it as resonant as possible, and there are many, many resonant antennas that we deploy or can deploy. So that helps, I think, part of it, but you're talking mainly about end-fed half waves. So an end-fed half wave usually demands some kind of a transformer device that helps bring the characteristically high impedance down based off of when you see like 49 to 1. Well, it's like a multiple of 49 I'm using the wrong language, but it's basically taking it 49 times down. So if it's what's the characteristic impedance at an end fed at the end, Adam? I'm going to add
2250.
2250. So if you
Yeah,
take
for an end fed half wave, it's about that. Yeah,
so
2000 ish.
if you took 2000 and divided it by 49, you're going to get close-ish to 50 ohms is what that's doing. So if you have a 49 to 1 unun and an appropriate length of wire that is cut for the band that you want to be on, the lowest band, so say like 40 meters, right? You cut it for 40 meters. When you find the resonant spot of that wire, you will effectively have an antenna on 40 meters. And the good news is that because of smart people within the ITU, the FCC, or just amateur hams along the way, they said, wouldn't it be smart if we made many of our bands on the multiples, the harmonics of the frequencies that we have allocations on? So a 40-meter end fed will also work on 20 meters and 15 meters and 10 meters because they are multiples. The harmonics are within phase or within the same frequency spaces that you would have access to. So an end-fed is a multi-band antenna at that point. I've talked a lot. I'll go back to you with your questions, then I'm sure Adam will correct a lot of what I said too. Go ahead.
Well, my main thing is the resonant antennas. I've seen people use an ugly balun on, and I was wondering if you do an ugly balun, say for 160, when you do a fan dipole or something, does that ugly balun, is that okay at 160 for the rest of the band?
We're conflating some terms. So an ugly balun is usually not really every time I've heard the word ugly and coil mentioned, it's usually in regards to a choke. Okay? A choke is not the same thing as a balun. A balun is a balanced to unbalanced transformer, or something that's designed to go from an unbalanced feed line, an unbalanced feed line to a balanced antenna, or an unbalanced antenna, in the case of an end-fed half wave, to a balanced feed line. Does that make sense? An ugly balun, or in this case, an ugly choke? Is that what you're referring to? An ugly balun is a choke?
Yeah, I guess that's where I'm getting confused, because I see the resonant antennas. A lot of people are using the coax and making a coil, and they're calling it a balun. But on the end feds and stuff and the random wires, they're using an actual balun. So I didn't know if they work interchangeably.
Well, so a dipole is often fed with a balun. A balun, in this case, is a balanced antenna. A dipole is equal sides on both legs of the antenna to an unbalanced feed line. It just so turns out that that's a 1-to-1 balun, okay? A end-fed half-wave is an unbalanced transformer because the antenna is unbalanced because we're feeding it at the end, and the feed line is also unbalanced because coax is just characteristically unbalanced because you literally have a shield that wraps around the entire center pin. I'm going to repeat something because maybe you didn't catch it. An end-fed half-wave is a resonant antenna. So you keep saying these guys using resonant antennas are just using a coil of wire. Most antennas are resonant. What you're talking about is likely balanced antennas. So a dipole, you mentioned fan dipole, right? Fan dipoles are just it's basically multiple dipoles that have elements that are cut for resonance of the frequency that you're transmitting on. That's what a fan dipole is. And the reason why we put a choke close to the feed point of that antenna is to keep common mode currents off of the exterior of the shield of the coax. It doesn't have anything else to do with the character. Well, it can affect the pattern of the radio or the antenna. That's another reason why they use a choke. But it's oftentimes to keep common mode currents off of the choke. Does that help?
Yeah, to my knowledge, the end feds actually use the coax as matching, if I'm correct, but through the balun.
Say that again. Wait, say that again. What did you say? They use what for matching?
From my understanding, that the end feds use the coax itself through the balun for matching.
Not necessarily for matching. It's part of it. And it will play a factor in it. But that 49-to-1 unun is what's bringing you down off of that high characteristic impedance, because we need to bring everything down to 50 ohms, right? So we use that transformer to bring that down from the 2,000 something ohm impedance, like was previously mentioned. The coax is part of that system in that it is the shield side of the coax, and it's kind of acting like a radial. Now, some 49-to-1 ununs will actually have a little post, like a Nass or a wingnut, as we call it, that you can put a radial on, and you can actually have a dedicated radial for that end-fed half-wave. And that's great. Do that if you can. If you don't have that, then you can't really choke the coax, because putting a high impedance choke at the feed point of your end-fed half-wave will drastically decrease its performance. If you must have a choke, make sure the choke is pretty much right before the coax enters into your shack, or wherever you're deploying it, if you must use one, to keep the stray common mode currents off of the shield that goes into the radio.
Okay, I think I understand now, because I want to build a dipole, so I'm just
Right.
going to use the pretty much what was considered an ugly balun or a coil, and I don't need anything else to match, because the coil will do that if I do the right turns at the right diameter.
I would recommend that you get yourself a 1-to-1 balun. It will make the setup of the antenna very easy, because it'll have the two posts, the screw posts that you'll just use eyelets to connect the wires to the center connector. And then the center connector will have the SO239 for the coax connection. The advantage of using a balun is what it is also doing is effectively removing the coax from the antenna. So it's, and hear me out when I'm saying this, because it can get kind of confusing. The coax, even on a balun, will affect its radiation pattern, right? So a balun on a dipole antenna is like mitigating that. It's making so the coax is not going to be a part of the antenna from like a radiation/coupling standpoint, and will help also keep some stray RF from getting back into the shack by using an appropriate balun. Now, from a choking standpoint, I would recommend you actually do a coil at the feed point of the balun, which is right there by the actual legs of the antenna, and then also, as it's going into your shack, drop another coil / lightning arrestor to ground rod, a number of other things you could do there. That's also recommended.
Can I offer a little bit of a suggestion as far as what you're talking about there, Josh?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you've already pointed out that the feed point resistance of a dipole is going to be 72 ohms. So that is at resonance with equal lengths. So you can bring that down to 50 ohms by creating actually a doublet instead of a dipole. So you can put your antenna analyzer on. Of course, we're going to start long and figure out what frequency the antenna is resonant at. Most antenna analyzers will tell you what frequency it's actually resonant at. So wherever its lowest SWR is, that's what you're going to be watching. Now, you don't care about moving the resonant frequency of the antenna yet. You're going to start trimming one of the ends of your previous dipole, now a doublet, until that SWR comes down to as close to 50 ohms as you can get it. And you can get it at 50 ohms if you're just patient enough. If it comes down and then it starts going up, you're getting too short. Add a little bit more. But anyway, once you get the antenna resonant at 50 ohms, then you start trimming each end of the antenna or adding to each end of the antenna, depending if you need to lower or raise the resonant frequency. But once you get the resonant impedance of the antenna down to 50 ohms, then you trim each end equally to shift its resonant frequency. And now you don't need a balun to match it, and the likelihood that you're going to get any common mode is pretty moot. Not that I wouldn't still use the common mode choke, because there's other stuff that comes in over common mode, but I just wanted to point that out. It's a really good way to not have to use a tuner and get as close to 1-to-1 and resonate as much of your energy as possible.
So are you telling him to build a proper doublet with a window line as the feed?
No, you can feed it straight at the feed point.
That's not a doublet then. That's a dipole.
No, not if it's unequal length.
Not if it's unequal length?
Yeah, so remember, I said trim one leg of his dipole until SWR, lowest SWR,
so it's
wherever
an off
the dipole is resonant at.
It's an off-center fed. That's not a doublet.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that.
A doublet is a dipole that is fed with window line.
Okay, all right. Sorry about the nomenclature there.
No, I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. So
okay, yeah. So unequal length, so off center fed, I guess, and then you just, once you figure out where it's resonant at, putting your analyzer on it, watch that frequency. You might be low, you might be high, whatever. All you got is your analyzer plugged into it right now. You trim until you get.
Hold on, I'm sorry to interject. I think the person asking the question is kind of new. They're starting out, so I think we're hitting them with a lot of information. Let's go back to them for a second. The dipole you're trying to build, are you just trying to build a monoband dipole just to try out building an antenna?
Well, I'm just trying to do an all HF band, like 160 to 6, a fan dipole.
Oh, a fan dipole. Okay. So a fan dipoles, you're going to build elements for every one of those. By the way, a 160 meter fan dipole is freaking huge.
Huge.
Do you understand that, right?
Yeah, I got 2 acres, and it's pretty much like a rectangle.
Okay.
Oh, well, then put a loop up instead.
Sky loop.
Okay, guys.
Definitely put a 160 meter loop up. It's a lot easier.
Guys. Is this your first antenna you're building?
It's my second antenna.
Okay, so you're still kind of. This is early on in your ham career.
Yeah, this is going to be my first HF.
Okay, so I agree with what everybody's saying. Look into a sky loop antenna if you can swing that. I think you'll really enjoy it. I think you'll get a lot out of it. But if that feels a little daunting to you, a fan dipole is fantastic. You'll have a great time. I would recommend that you start out with the high bands and just build it out, right? So 10-meter dipoles, really easy to cut up and be pretty precise with. The thing to consider is that you should go look in how to build a fan dipole, because there will be some interaction between the elements. You can't just take a 10-meter dipole and then turn it into 12 and then add a 15 and add a 20 and all that stuff, there will be some kind of differences in the tuning as you add the more elements to it. So look up information on how to build a fan dipole. Plus, a dipole is probably over the long run is going to be cheaper to build than like a full wave loop, is my guess, and it's probably a little bit more straightforward. Go ahead. You're going to say something?
Well, yeah, I have a truck's width length of clearing between the trees all the way back to the back of the property. And on top of that, the research that I've been doing, they were doing coils. Like when I was looking up fan dipoles, they were talking about doing the coil of coax resonant to 160, and then that would be good for all the lower bands. And then you start with 160, you get that set, you get that tuned, and you take those off, and you put the next set, like the 80, get those tuned, take them off, tune them individually, and then put it all up in final tuning.
Sure, you can approach it in lots of different ways. So I would say go ahead and do that. Give that a go. I love the full wave loop idea, but that might be a little daunting to start. So yeah, go explore the dipole thing. Yeah, hopefully we gave you lots of information, I think. K4 WTF, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but you had some very good insights as well. But does that get you going at least? Does that help answer your question?
Yeah. I just wanted to understand the difference between them calling an ugly balun, which is actually a coil based, versus like a 9-to-1 or a 49-to-1.
It's a choke. An ugly balun is a choke. It is for choking the coax at the feed point to prevent stray RF and common mode current from getting back into the shack. That's the big thing.
Something to remember also about the ugly balun is it is not nearly as effective as a purpose-built common mode choke.
100% agree. Well said. Yeah.
So if you check the I'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah,
again,
I saw the link. It flew by, Adam.
There's a really cool link that shows a comparison of common mode choke impedances, and I think one of the things you'll kind of glean from the table there, I can probably even copy and paste this image into the chat, is that the air cord baluns, aka ugly baluns, provide a very high choking impedance, but for a narrow frequency range. So they're basically monobanded. And then the other thing that I've learned about common mode chokes is that you don't really need that much impedance for them to be effective. So in general, because of those two things, because I know I can get a broadband choke out of a ferrite cord common mode choke, and I know I don't need a ton of choking impedance, I typically use a -43 mix toroid with a bunch of turns of coax.
Yep.
How do you do that with something like Sahara 10, though?
You just use smaller coax for the choke portion. There's if you only have a foot or two of RG316 or RG58, your losses are going to be minimal there anyway.
Oh yeah.
Cool. All right.
Hey,
thanks.
Josh, comment for you.
Yeah, really quick. Bay Kayaker, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Go ahead, K4 WTF.
So it was either last night or the night before, I can't remember, but a comment or a compliment is that my YouTube, which usually I leave running, inevitably ends up on your channel, streaming it 24/7. But I caught a live stream where you're talking to Frank about, I don't know if it was Poda or Soda when he was up at the Golden Gate.
When he was up at the Golden Gate, you're talking about Frank the Tank Radio?
I think he's talking about me.
Possibly.
Okay.
Did you used to work for the Book of Faces?
Me?
Me? No.
Okay, then not talking about you. Well, wow, I would have sworn that it was the same guy anyway. Somebody named Frank that was a big Motorola guy.
That's me.
Yep. Well, it programmed up my XTS 5000 for me when I was out there working for the Book of Faces. But just wanted to say it. I was like, Wow. And then one more thing. I was watching your live stream earlier, and you were showing some of your solder tricks. And so I taught communications electronics in the Marine Corps a long time ago, but this stuff hasn't changed. So 2S, 3C are the criteria. I'm sorry. Yeah. So smooth, shiny, clean, concave, and covering. And the little flick trick that you use, yeah, it'll pull some solder away from it, but what it's doing is it's getting rid of your shiny and concave. So I just wanted to point that out. It triggered my OCD.
It didn't. No, it didn't. Are you
Look
there?
under the microscope. Look under the microscope at that SWR device that you built. You've got one that's kind of a ball instead of a
All right,
concave.
let's go ahead and do that. Hold on. Where is the? Hold on. Oh, it's right there. Okay, good. All right. Which one was it? Was it this guy? It was these guys.
Well, the first one that you showed was a good example, but see how they're more convex than concave?
Okay. What's it gonna do if it's the way it is right now? What's gonna happen? Walk us through it.
It doesn't provide as good a stress relief.
Stress relief for what?
Vibration and things like that. You got to think about, it will not meet military specs.
Okay.
So a concave solder joint. So, like I said,
That's upsetting because that's actually who this is going to the Navy. This is actually a dummy load I built for the Navy. I'm subcontracted out to do that for them.
okay. So,
You think it's okay? You think it's going to be all right?
well, electrically, I saw it work, but smooth, shiny, clean, concave, and covering, and clean being, it's going to be mirror like.
Okay. Do you have a video on soldering? You should make one if you haven't.
I've got one from 1988.
No, do you?
That you can't even see the shiny because VHS is so bad. But I've got one when I was teaching at 29 Palms.
You should post it to your YouTube channel and share it with everybody, so you can correct all the bad soldering out there.
Better off, I'll just shoot another one sometime.
You should. You should definitely do that.
Anyway, thanks, man. I appreciate the channel, and I'll stop hogging it.
No, you're good. Thanks. All right. Who's next? Anybody else in the Discord? Newcomer to the Discord that would like to say hi or ask a ham radio question? Go ahead. Okay. Well, we'll take another break and go back to the YouTube for questions. If you type question or at Ham Radio Crash Course, I'll see it. Thank you, Parallel VTH, for becoming a member. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Let's see. Go back up until I see another question. I think I got one. I think my question was lost in the mix earlier. This is from someone on Discord. Will take a look. Don't mean to spam. Now that the FTDX10 is only $400 more than the 7300, is that a better choice for a first HF radio? Well, I'm going to ask the question. Is the FTDX10 in your budget? Are you on voice, by the way? I hope. Sub no date. KD9YWY. Are you on voice? Okay, see, that's the problem. If you come on, get on the voice. It makes it a lot easier to have the back and forth. So if it's within your budget and you don't have a problem spending that, then yeah, go with the radio that is 5 years newer than the 7300, and actually is really good receiver front end. Really good. It's hard. I mean, again, go look at the Sherwood report on how good the receiver is on the Yaesu radios, and you'll very much enjoy it. You gonna say something, Don? Go for it.
Oh, he commented that he has enough money if it's $12.99.
Yeah, then do it. RK says, I have the FTDX10. Is it good enough? Yeah, I think so. It depends, though. If you're like a hardcore contester, then maybe not. If you're going to run, multi-op one radio, or, sorry, what is it? Multi-something? It doesn't matter. It might not work for some contesting, but yeah, for most people, it's, like, great.
I'm getting to be such a multi-antenna snob. I'm getting to where none of those radios fit my bill. The 590 SG is probably the closest.
I've very much enjoyed using the FTDX10. I think it's a very good radio. I think that it is of the age. It has a very good receiver. There's really nothing wrong to it, aside from it being characteristically very much a certain way. Yaesu has their own interfaces, which some people like and some people don't. I don't think that's just the way it's going to be, right? All interfaces are not going to be perfect for everybody. So again, this always comes back to if you can, go to a HRO, a Gigaparts, a DX Engineering. Go in the store and go hands-on and actually test out the radios. You'll get the best. You'll know pretty quickly what's going to work for you or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to go into it because that's way more money than any of those radios. But I just I can't live anymore without multiple antenna inputs. Now on POTA,
I can't live. That's a bit
POTA
intense,
machines. The POTA radio is fine, and so I use the FTX10 for POTA. But I have the 101D here, and I'm very happy with it.
Don, a bit extreme, but I don't.
I know.
I don't
absolutely
disagree.
agree with you.
I love having multiple antennas too. It's absolutely fantastic. By the way, I'm doing it, Don. I'm doing a log. I'm installing a log. I realized stupidly, like I was trying to figure out how I could install a log in the backyard, which has a arguably much smaller lawn. And I'm like, wait, why don't I just go to the front yard? It's actually a shorter it's a shorter coax run as well, and it's just a big square. It's a big rectangle, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm doing it. The only thing I've got to do is get under the concrete walkway to my front door, but that's easy. That's like they make those little hose mounts that just is like a PVC pipe with a nozzle. You just blast the water through there. I'm doing it. It's happening.
Yeah.
I'm super.
And you remember it's 75 ohm coax, right?
No, I went the 50 ohm one. I got the kit from that. So Evan has a log, and I got the same kit that he recommended.
Oh, I built my own. I've got 3 now.
I thought about
they're
that,
all
but
75 ohm.
I figured
double rated.
I'm just gonna go with the 50 ohm kit. We're gonna install it, and I've got that BNC. I've got 4 receive antennas on this radio, and so I'm gonna plug into one of those. This is gonna be great. I'm super excited.
Yeah, and hopefully it helps you. I mean, nothing will solve the problems we have, but short of moving.
I know. Yeah.
And, but and I'm seriously considering it. But having the Flex out at my sister's house, and I worked on it this week and got it all working, and the noise floor there is so much. Oh, it's like 3 dB, 4 dB less. And on 10 meters, it's a S3. And it's just amazing to be able to hear, light POTA stations and work them.
I know, right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim Barber, for joining the team out there. Appreciate your support. We really do. Thank you so much. There was a couple of other questions. Let me get in there. Let's see.
Yeah,
Super chat from
like
Jose Morales. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says I'm enjoying the crash course. Oh, there it is. Lots of great information. Thank you so much. Let's see. What is Josh getting for Christmas edition? I don't know yet. Josh ends up buying his own stuff generally. Question. Question. Does that clear RF device need a dummy load? What's the clear RF device? What are you talking about? The RF snitch, the power snitch? I don't think I understand. So they'll have to come back to us and let us know what they mean. All right. Next one. I think we answered the one about the 7300. Very good.
and QNF versus SOP. How about that?
I don't know what that means.
Those are two different packaging styles of the surface mount devices.
Oh.
And what you did tonight, I believe, is called SOP. The reason I know all of this is because when Coffee and Ham Radios ordered their 100 devices or AOC devices, they left off a very small part on the board, or forgot to ask for it. And that part is a QNF device. The QNFs have a pad underneath the device that requires soldering as well. So you solder the whole thing or you heat the whole thing at one time. It's much, much more difficult.
So the question is the clean RF, not clear RF, clean RF. It's a variable sampler. So you could just have, it could be through to an antenna, and it just pulls some of that RF off, and it has an adjustable attenuator on it. So you can go into a dummy load, which is what I have here for a handheld.
Yeah, I mean, I knew what the device was. I just didn't know if it required the dummy load.
Yes. Well, yeah, because you got to give your radio something to transmit into. It's just there as a tap. It's like it's pulling off some of that RF so you can tap it.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I was constructing a device very similar to it, and I ordered one myself.
Yeah, it's a really cool device. I really like it. All right.
Yeah, I've been wanting to take a look at like output of my 101 and the PGXL itself. And there's a couple of club radios that are our club that they do want them checked out. So it'll come in a lot more use than just my jack. So and it's very reasonable if you price that versus with like the Bird samplers. Yeah, that's why I bought it.
All right.
Yeah, Josh, I just dropped a link in the live stream chat, or not in the live stream, but in the live stream chat. Sorry, for to answer somebody's question on Loop on the Ground.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Okay, just wanted you to know.
Log loop on the ground. Literally, it's you can bury it just right below the surface.
How effective a radiator is that?
It isn't. It's a receive-only antenna. It's equivalent to a beverage antenna, but very, very, or it doesn't have the length advantage of a beverage, but it does use a transformer and all of that. But it is truly a transformer. It does not use a balun or any of that kind of stuff. It uses a transformer, and it so you literally can't transmit through it.
Yep, it's just a receiving antenna. The advantage of it, though, is that it's very low noise. Now, here's a statement from N3MFL. An IC7200 is about the best entry-level HF rig that is modern. I'm retiring my 7300. Just bought the FT710, and it has one of the best receivers I've ever used. and it continues on ever used. I can't believe this radio exists, and I have one now. Well, there you go. Right on. I don't agree about the 710 or the 7200. I think the 7300 is better. So. All right. So HamCon, yeah. So HamCon Zion, Utah, on July 12th and 13th. I've got a series of emails that went out to a number of the YouTubers, but then I didn't see any more. And I remember that there was linked to the website, but then the website at the time that I was looking at it, it didn't have the dates and it was kind of vague. Chance you can make it down. This will be the inaugural event. Yeah, there is a chance I can make it down. See, the thing is you got to keep in mind that, like, a lot of the Hamfest we go to, I fly directly to them. So, like Huntsville, I'm flying into Huntsville. Orlando, I'm flying into Orlando. Hamvention's actually the worst out of all of them, where I have to fly into like Dayton, which is a horrible airport to fly into, or Cleveland or something like that, and then drive. It's actually not easy to get to where the location is in Zion. You can't really fly. I mean, you can fly into some locations in Utah, but then you'd have to drive to whatever, and fly into Vegas. If I'm flying, I might as well just drive, because it's like that's only cutting the distance in half, really, from my Columbus. Yeah, Columbus would be an option too if I wanted to do that, but
yeah, I did get an email from Zion saying the tickets are now on sale, like starting this week.
Interesting. I don't know that I got that.
I signed up for their, any or signed up to their email list a long time ago, and
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. Fiat, are you involved with the show? Catch me up if there's some emails that I've missed. Like, send them to me again, because I don't think I got them. Yeah, no, they reached out to us and said, "Hey, we'd love it if you guys came down. We'll do a whole thing with the media and all that. Media passes, the whole 9 yards." And usually, I mean, that's enough for most of us to go like, "Heck yeah." And I think they had some ideas for different, like, little talks we would give, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm down for that 100%. So, yeah. Josh at Ham Tactical is one of them. I also have hoshnasi@gmail.com. Josh at Ham Tactical, please. Thank you. So my everything got disconnected for some reason on WSJTX. That's very odd. Like, it's not. That's weird. It all got disconnected. Meow. No, it lost it. So anyway, it only took a second. I'm gonna get back on FT8 here. Should be good. He might be in. We're gonna take a second here to go to YouTubers and say hi to him in a second. But go ahead, take your question first.
I think they're 2mm banana plugs. So I'll go drop that in the chat.
All right. I was mainly just curious if it was still an idea that you used in practice or whatever, but it's really trick, and it definitely cuts down on the system of bits and pieces and such. So anyway, thanks for the extra word there.
Yeah, sure thing. And like I said, it definitely does have a little bit of capacitive coupling there, and you need to kind of just minimize how much wire is close to each other on those non-DC electrically connected segments.
All right,
There you go.
good enough. Well, thanks, Adam, and thanks for the time there, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. Let's see. Hey, Ham Radio Fun, or Ham Radio Fun with KO4PDI. I know that guy. My favorite ham magician. Anyway, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, no, there was some kind of freak out with my USB port, but we all should be good there. Got a question. Where's Jesse? Jesse's question, I answered him, but I thought I would take a time. I think he's asking me. I don't know. Do you enjoy your hobby for a living, or does ham radio feel like work? So my YouTube channel can feel like work, but ham radio is a hobby, and I have fun doing it. But keep in mind, I have a job. I have a career that's not related to my YouTube at all. I'm an aerospace. Well, I'm a software engineer and systems engineer, and I work for a large aerospace company that has nothing to do with amateur radio. So yeah, there you go. All right, let's take a minute and say hi to some of our YouTuber friends. Let's see who we got going down the list. What's up? We'll go to Evan first. Evan, you're a TikToker, and you definitely qualify as a friend. So what have you been up to, man? Is he there? Is he there? I'm putting him on the spot. We'll come back to Evan then. Frank, you're next. What's going on, man?
Oh, hi, Josh. Nothing much going on. I do have a series of videos. Well, I talked about them briefly last week. The POTA videos. I've managed to get them even shorter and quicker. I have 5 videos at about 5 minutes each coming out, hopefully starting Tuesday night, and I'll do one a week through the end of the year, and that will get most of my backlog, if you will, caught up, and I'll have some new POTA videos coming out in 2024.
Very good. Right on.
But,
All right.
with work, I'm so busy. It's sorry, I had PTT on the phone.
You're good. You're
with
good.
work, it's so busy. My last POTA activation was, a week ago with the Golden Gate Bridge and a couple other places. And after that, I'm not going to have time through the end of the year for any POTA fun. So if you get out there and POTA hard for me as well. Thanks, Josh.
No problem. Thank you for joining us out here. All right. Next, Grayman POTA. What's going on?
No, just living a dream. Went out. I actually did a POTA activation today. Filmed the whole thing, and about 3/4 of my video is without audio. So, fun. But just got my reservations made for Hamcation. So I will be down there and looking forward to it this year.
I got to do mine. I've been lazy. I'm already probably limited on my flight options now, which is a little bit upsetting. That's my own bad. But I got to do that. Probably after we wrap this up or tomorrow, I'm going to get that done. Right on. Thanks for joining us out there. Appreciate it. All right. Who's next? Going down the list. K4WTF, do you have a YouTube channel that I'm not aware of? What's your YouTube channel?
I don't.
Okay.
Something that I've thought about, but then again, I'm too selfish to put the amount of effort that you put into it when I'm not working and am playing ham radio. I like to be in the airplane instead.
Right on. I think there's another WTF suffix call sign that has a YouTube channel. I think that's why I was getting confused. So right on.
So there's W2WTF and W4WTF. All our friends of mine, we all got the WTF vanity calls at the same time.
That's funny.
We're all part of the Damned Independent Radio Technical Society.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right on.
WQ9F was in here a few minutes ago, and his YouTube channel is pretty good.
There you go. I don't know.
On a funny note, I applied for Whiskey 9 Tango Foxtrot W9TF, and lost that to somebody out in California.
W9TF would be a pretty good one, but I wouldn't want to be a 9 call in 6 land. I do
That's
actually
like being a
prefer
4 call in
sticking-
6 land.
Yeah, I do actually prefer being a 6 call, in the act. I think that, you should do that wherever possible. But some of those vanities for the extra calls are just super difficult to get.
Yeah, and I get it. It's your call sign is a persona of you, right? And when you move, I get wanting to take your call sign with you if you've been with it forever. I think
Oh yeah,
James from Corky QRP the other night he mentioned his call sign's from Guam,
Yeah.
and he lives here in California, and that's cool, right? That is
Mhm.
part of his identity.
Mhm.
But to grab a call when you live like in 6 land from from all the way across the country, and you had no tie to it to begin with, that to me just seems a little odd.
And Grayman, you're overdriving a little bit, or you got some RF coming back in. You've got some
Ground loop.
Yeah, you might have. It sounds like a ground loop or something, possibly.
Yeah,
There's a
and
buzz.
lest we forget Whiskey 1 Tango Whiskey, right, Grayman?
Mhm.
Yeah, that Jim guy, you can never trust him.
Jim. All right,
Yep.
let's say hi to our friend K6ARK. Adam, how's it going, man? I know you've been busy. We've been talking to you. You've been texting me some of your little projects you got going on in the background. What's been going on, man?
Yeah, it is going well. It's been nice having a few days off work to play and do a little bit of the stuff I love the most in this, creating and designing and tinkering with things. So, I don't want to spill too many beans yet, but I don't even have my KH1 yet, but I've been working on multiple designs for a much improved KH1 paddle, because I think that's really the weak point of Elecraft's design on that rig. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun tinkering with that. I should have some prototypes here in probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Right on.
And then the other thing, I built a cool little radio today from basically a kit that a friend sent. I posted the link in the chat. It's a design that he came up with, and it's kind of an interesting setup. Basically, it's a 3-band HF rig, CW, and I think it'll do FT8, but only currently through the app itself, so it can send but can't receive FT8. And the cool thing about it, it uses a little microcontroller that has onboard Wi-Fi and I think Bluetooth as well. But it connects to your phone via Bluetooth, and your phone through the browser is actually what you use as the user interface for the radio.
That's wild
tiny.
cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool,
And
Adam.
you can power it off of USB-C power delivery through the USB-C port, or through 6 to 15 volt DC input. There's a lot of potential capability for this little thing, and hopefully some others will kind of hop on the bandwagon on this, particularly some folks that may have skills in app development and could create some really cool integration with this
That
on
is
some
super
other
cool.
radio related apps.
I'll drop the
Yeah.
link. I think Adam already did, but I'll redo it and pin it just so people can take a look. Is this you can buy this kit?
No, he's got it on GitHub.
Okay.
So I think you can go pull the necessary information to roll your own. But yeah, I would read through the information there. I'm not sure how ready he
That's
is
so cool.
to fully release it. He had a small run of boards that he did, and asked some friends, hey, is anyone interested in tinkering with this and helping me with some development? So I bought the parts from him and put that together today, and just started playing with it. So
I love it. Well, thanks for sharing that. It's super cool.
very
Adam.
cool project.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that about you, that you're pretty all about any kind of radio. A lot of
Oh, yeah.
guys I know that are like real pro CW, they don't really do much other than CW, but you'll do FT8, not all the time, but you know, you're interested in that stuff too. I think that's great. That's freaking cool, man.
I think, well, so this is primarily a CW radio, but
Yeah.
but it's set up so it'll integrate with SodaMate and be able to send
Yeah.
soda spots and stuff through FT8.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see where they're going with that.
Yeah, so that's the integration there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I get bored running FT8, but
Sure.
if I'm doing something else at camp and want to play some radio while I'm cooking dinner, FT8's perfect.
Yep. Right on.
It's all just fun. I don't
Yeah.
discriminate.
All great stuff. I love it. Did we get through all the YouTubers? Is there anybody else I'm missing? Hope we got a tight group of folks here, so hopefully we'll be able to pour through some questions right now. If I missed anybody, feel free to just let me know. But so Red Eye Gooner, what's the best HF rig for $1,000? Doesn't have to be portable, but would like to be able to move it around easily enough. So don't know about best, but I think if you went with the Yaesu 710 Field and you bought it right now, you'd be able to pick it up for $800, which is stupid good deal. Stupid good. That's like possibly one of the best Black Friday deals out there. And you have, when does this end? The 27th. You've got through the 27th to make this call. So there you go. You said $1,000. How's $200 savings sound on that one? I think that's pretty much the end all be all. Now, if you wanted portable, you pretty much have to go with the 891. But here's the thing. This is an old radio now in comparison to the 710. The 710's only $100 and change more expensive, $120 more expensive, and you do get more radio. I would say considerably enough.
Out of stock.
What is? The 710?
Well, it's right there. Yeah, right there on the screen.
The 891?
No, the 710.
It is?
But I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it
you can
would
still
be out
buy
of-
it. You can still buy it. They'll honor it.
Yeah, it just says delivery will be delayed, which isn't bad.
Yeah,
but it may be that R&L or Main Trading would still have it.
Or they just don't have any of them to begin with, and they're just waiting for resupply, and they're just shipping once they get them. That's what they did with the repeaters.
They had some in there the other day when I went into Plano store, but
Sure, but I mean, like, I guess what I'm saying is you could still buy it until the 27th for $800. So even if you don't get it immediately, that's an insanely good deal. The thing, the Field, didn't the Field retail at like $1,300 when it came out?
yes.
So this is like $500 off of what was arguably an inflated retail price, but still, I'm down. Makes no sense to me. Let's see. There was another. Hey, sub no date. Thank you so much for becoming a member. You became a member. I don't know why it says amount, but Grayman Poda, where can I find a coupon code for the 705 for under $1,000? I don't know of one. Did anybody see that? I did not.
No, I haven't seen.
I'll tell you, Josh is for under 1,000.
Yeah, right. You could win mine. You could win the one I bought, right? Maybe just enter my giveaway. Right? What about my giveaway? Well, the Ham Radio Crash Course, we're giving away an FTDX10, a ICOM 705. We're giving away solar panels from PowerFilm Solar. We're going to give away a MobiLink TNC. So there you go. All kinds of different things we'll be doing. So make sure you go take the link in the description and get in on that giveaway. Right on? Right on. Question, what is everyone's take on the how do you pronounce that? Johetic PMR 171 mobile radio? It goes from 100 kilohertz all the way up to 2 gigahertz, 20-watt output, military-type radio. VHF, UHF, HF, CW, AM, and shortwave.
And DMR.
And DMR, that's right. That's completely crazy.
And Jason supposedly has one. He opened the box on it, but he hasn't reviewed it yet.
Didn't he do a video on it?
Yeah, I did, just for opening the box, but he hasn't
Nothing.
actually transmitted on it.
I know he gets decent views on those videos, but when I see him start opening boxes, I always kind of think to myself, I'm like, he's probably not going to get that deep in the radio. So I kind of just like, okay. Once I start seeing him pulling out boxes, I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing unboxing today. But that's just me.
I mean, it seems like an interesting radio because it is one of those. Oh gosh, what was that thing that everybody hated because it didn't have a VFO? And basically, they've taken that
Oh,
radio and
yeah.
slapped the VFO, and that's what it looks like to me. But I never had the radio, so I never did know if it actually worked well as a radio. I know HOA Ham had one of the ones with the deals, and my understanding, he liked the radio, but he no longer has it. So
Which one?
that tells, huh?
The PMR
He had
171?
no, he didn't have that particular one. He had the ones before it that had the little keys for
the keypad in the
VFO.
front. Yeah.
Yes. He had one, and
Yeah.
he said he liked it, but that was a year ago, I think, and I have not seen it when he shows the shack anymore. So I assume that he had the Q900. That's right.
Yeah. So they are sending me one of those PMR 171s. Apparently, the company that has them reached out to me over a month ago, and I just didn't reply to them. So I ended up replying to them, and they said, "Yeah, we'll send you one." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I'll eventually get one. We'll see.
Yeah, the one thing I asked Jason this too, and I don't know that you know either, but if you ask for it fully loaded, or is it coming with just the bare radio? Because I'd love to know what it's like with DMR and all of the options in it.
Oh, yeah, I asked him to I said, "Whatever you guys are advertising this thing as, send me all the stuff." So the battery that's supposed to clamp onto the back of the whole thing, all that. I'm like, "Yeah, well, send me the stuff you want me to look at. If it's supposed to do DMR, send me all that stuff."
Yeah, I hope you get that. I mean, Jason opened it and he goes, "Well, I don't know if it's got that in here." Okay.
Well, I'm
But
assuming
if you
Jason gets a lot of things shipped to him that he's like, opens it up and goes, "Okay."
Well, no, he
Like
supposedly
the
said
DX
he
Commander.
wanted it. Yeah,
Well,
true, like
yeah.
the DX Command.
I will say,
Although
hopefully everybody saw Mike's video for that contest. I forgot to do what Mike did, but Mike handled it perfectly, I thought. That was spot on.
Yeah. And if you ever have time, take a look at that video where I actually got or talked to Callum on the radio.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
You
That's
might
pretty
have.
awesome.
I think I posted it to you probably. So yeah.
What should the secret word be today, guys?
PMR 171? No.
No. No.
Flex radio?
No, stop it.
It depends.
Yeah, it depends. There you go.
There you go. It depends. And yes, we'll do 2 words, so you can do it that way. So yes, the secret word today is it depends.
Now I am
for
correct.
the giveaway.
I am correct in assuming that it's 1 entry per person, right? So if I did it several weeks ago, I do not do it again. Okay.
It is, and the bot removes duplicate entries, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well, I just don't want you to be disappointed that I'm not doing it every day.
No, don't do it every day because it doesn't help. Oh boy, howdy! The teenage engineering. So this is nerdy music stuff. I'm not a musician, but I like to play around with music toys. Teenage engineering dropped a new device. It's the pocket operators. They came out with a large pocket operator. Looks like an old calculator. I won't be buying it. I have the OP1. I don't need a. I have an OP1 and I have a Muddy or a Dirty Wave M8. I'm good. I've got all the things that I need anyway for Play. By the way, actually, that's a call to action. If anybody has recordings of people behaving badly on the amateur radio band, send them to josh@hamtactical.com. I want your recordings of people arguing, being jerks, all of that. I want them. josh@hamtactical.com. Send me those. I will make music, and I'll make album or tracks for my upcoming album whenever that gets released. So feel free.
So now I
got
understand
one
why you
for
wanted
you.
it.
What's that? Too many people talking at once. What was that?
I said now I understand why you want it.
Yes, indeed.
And I got one for you. I'll send it to you in Discord message, but there's a repeater here locally in the Bay Area. You can pull gold from day in and day out.
Did you say you're going to send me a recording?
Yes.
On Discord?
Yes.
I just got done saying, can you send it to josh@hamtactical.com?
No. It's a link. It's a link to a broadcastify that you can just set a computer to record.
I'm not
24
gonna
hours.
do that. I don't have the time to go. I asked. Oh my God, everybody! If you have a clip of someone behaving badly, send it to me at josh@hamtactical.com. I know how to find the watering holes where bad actors exist. Are you kidding? I've got the W6 nut repeater. I've got the whatever. I've got it all. I've got it all.
This one puts a lot of the SoCal stuff to shame.
You better calm down with that.
Oh,
You better
I've
calm all the way
both.
down. There was like a murder on one of the repeaters. Come on, dude. In Southern California.
Just key up on the wind system and leave the Roger beep on a Baofeng on. You'll get gold.
Jesus, K6RK. I'll prep a Python script that will email 24-hour segments of repeat. Yeah, thank you. That's very much answering my question. Yes, the 435. Was that the 435? Was that where that murder was? I don't remember. Yeah, dude. Dude killed a guy. Over beef on the repeater, beefing on the repeats. Yeah, buddy. Ham radio is serious business. Did nobody tell you that? I love it. Yeah. I got a great recording. I'm going to send you an 8-track copy to your P.O. box. Damn it. Why don't you just fax it to me? Can you fax it to me? I'm just playing, Frank. I know what you mean. And it does. Yeah, if you want to link me, that's fine too. But seriously, I need the clips.
Yeah.
I can't be taking all the time to just like try and cut through all this stuff. By the way, I do accept mini disc. That is one dead format that I will take. I'll take all your mini discs, your players, your recorders, anything. I love mini discs.
What format do you want the audio files in?
Love mini discs.
Do you have a Zune?
I don't have a Zune, and I don't want a Zune.
Aw.
Yeah, sorry.
I have the brown Zune, and it's
dude,
the
that's
best
the best
color
one.
because it's a turd.
Yeah, it is. It's a turd, but it's actually pretty good. It's a good unit. If you go, do you know who DankPods is on YouTube? Have you seen DankPods?
No.
Go look up the DankPods Zune video. It's actually really good.
Yeah, I liked mine while I had it. It died out, and you couldn't load music on it after a while.
Oh, damn, that sucks. Because those were good. Ugh. All right. Oh, yeah, you remember, was that the PS3? They actually called their file transmission system squirting. Fantastic. Or was that Zune too? I don't remember.
It might have been Zune because they had the Squircle.
That's insane. That was Zune. That's disgusting. Horrible. All right. We're losing everybody quickly. Any questions in the Discord? Anybody? Any questions? Anyone? Anywhere? Questions on the Discord? Go for it.
I have a question about that PMR 171. Do you know if it's actually full transmit on that full band or just receive?
It's probably band locked, but I don't have it yet. We can check it when I get it.
Awesome. Yeah, I have a use case for it for radios outside the ham bands for work, and I just can't get them to buy the equipment I need. So it's always nice to buy stuff on your own and adapt it to make it work.
I mean, it's only 20 watts output. Is that a problem?
Oh, it's just for testing radios on non-ham bands. I just need to basically be able to key up and talk back and forth like 300 feet.
Oh, you can get a hack RF.
Yeah, people look at you weird when you bring that into certain places, though.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, just
I get what you're putting down.
I can't even begin to tell you how much my boss hates my flipper.
Why? Because you keep open his Tesla charge door?
No, it's just he's seen the things it can do, and he's afraid of it.
Oh, they're not the flipper. There's a lot of people that are they're reacting immaturely, I think, to the flipper. The flipper is actually not that big a deal. It's just a replay device. It's just a replay device.
Absolutely. And the way I explain it is it's no different than a car or a gun or any other thing out there that could actually be harmful, right? So it's never the device. It's the person using the device and how they use it that matters.
I use my flipper to trigger a remote control trigger on my AR.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. No, what I guess I'm saying is what the flipper can actually do is pretty tame. It's just a replay device. There's already devices that exist out there that are replay devices. The best thing the flipper's got going on is probably a very strong IR blaster, and it does like dirty USB scripting. But all those devices already existed. It's all just kind of like co-locating many devices under one thing. Like, go check out all the devices that Hack 5 brought out. There's tons of more things that are available for.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all.
Oh yeah. Did you get the clear one? By the way, where is my clear? I have every colorway now of will whenever it actually ships. Did you guys see that they made a clear flipper?
No, I didn't see that, but that will probably be my next flipper purchase.
Well, you probably need to get that now because I think they're done.
So the problem I have with the flipper is it's kind of like the low end version of like good stuff, and it just feels like it's marketed towards script kiddies.
It is, yeah. What's wrong with that?
It just script kiddies use it for, hijinks, and it gets annoying. As an example, there's a guy that drives around near me, and he made some Arduino device that replays the Tesla charge port opening. And literally he just drives around and opens all the charge ports and thinks it's hilarious, and I don't get it.
Well, I mean, those charge ports, they close on their own after a while.
Sure, but I mean, like, I don't understand the point of putting that in your car and purposely just doing it. Literally, it's on all the time whenever he's driving around.
Right.
Every good tool can be misused.
That's literally what I was saying earlier. Yeah. No, but I mean, the only thing I ever use mine for is like the RFID stuff, my apartment complex, and the stuff around work.
Yeah, I have like a Proxmark for RFID and like a Chameleon and the Hack RF. So it's for me, it just seems like the flipper is more of a hijinks tool.
Well, I mean, it's not supposed to be nefarious, right? And inherently, it was never supposed to be nefarious. But like, people freaked out about it. Even the Brazilian government seized shipments of it. It was kind of insane, the reaction to it.
Well, that's just because of media coverage. One media vendor says, "Oh my goodness, this hacker tool got released to the public. Everyone panic," and then everyone picks up the story.
Yep. It's cool. Yeah, so I think my transparent flipper got canceled, so I don't think I got it. That sucks.
Sorry.
Dang. That I was wondering where it was at because I tried to order that back in October, and I got an email saying it was confirmed, and then I got another email saying it was canceled. What the hell? That sucks.
Yeah. Me and Gray Man can tell you about things getting canceled.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got Renegeed.
Uh-huh.
Hey, he's not. You guys aren't the only ones.
I keep on seeing on my Facebook. There's another. It's not a flipper. There's another device out there like the flipper. It came out after the flipper, but it's supposed to be even more powerful than what the flipper has on it.
But I think the statement is true that, like, yes, the flipper attracts script kiddies because literally it's like a Tamagotchi, right? That was why that's literally the design of the unit. The reality is that there's just people that will go no further than that capability. That is their limit of interest. That is probably their limit of capability, and that's just it. Period. So it's kind of like the Baofeng, right? The flipper is way more expensive than a Baofeng, but it's like a Baofeng device. Baofengs are simple things, and they attract people to get interested in our hobby, which I think is great. That's kind of how I look at the flipper. I think it's cool that people are taking this device and they're learning more about the RF world around them. But that's just how it goes, right? Inevitably, people are going to kind of be a little weird about it, but whatever. I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much, but I can see how people are not they don't like it. So right on. All right, questions in the YouTube chat. We got any more questions?
Question.
Go ahead.
Hey Josh, Thomas from Hawaii. Okay, so you mentioned the flipper. How many do you have now?
I have a white one and a black one.
Yo, Josh.
So somebody said, "Yo, Josh," but it was really quiet. I think I heard that.
Yo, Josh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, what's up?
Yo, I got this new radio. It's a Kenwood TS 120. It's from 10 meters to 160 meters. Can you give me like a little rundown on it if you can?
TS 120. I don't know because I don't know that I'm familiar with that one.
That's an old radio.
I'm looking it up for you, Josh.
Oh, buddy, yeah, it's
Yeah, she's an oldie. This is 70s vintage.
yeah.
Yep. Has no work bands on it.
It looks like a very simple radio. You just use it, right? It's got CW, upper sideband, lower sideband. And it's got 80, 40, 20, 15, 10, and 20. No, so it's split. It's got 10 meters split across 3 band notches. That's funny. Yeah, so it's HF non-work. Yeah, man. Does it work? Have you tried it?
It's coming in next week, so I'm pretty stoked about it. The guy that it's selling to me, he turned it on. He turned everything. He did CW. He did a quick single sideband QSO on it. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's not gonna go kaput.
Is this something you paid for, or is this was a freebie?
It's my uncle's. He
Okay.
has like 5 or 4 of those. He buys a lot of Japanese radios and he
Okay.
fixes them.
If it's free, hell yeah. It's kind of
But
how
if you had the money, you wouldn't pay for it because what's the reason with this?
No, probably not. I mean, I think it's cool. If I was a Super Kenwood fan, I might be interested to put it like on the shelf as kind of like a cool novelty. Dude, there's literally a send receive switch. Like you have to switch it manually, or does it just work off PTT? That's interesting.
It does work PTT. I see that
Okay.
my uncle took a video of what he was working a dude from White Plains, New York, with
Mhm.
from Spain, 10 meters.
Okay.
And yeah, he was using the push to talk button.
Right on. Right on.
Make sure you get a tuner for it, though.
There is a decent demand for those old Kenwood rigs. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Oh,
It's
sure.
not worth nothing, but
Right.
I I wouldn't pay more for the 120, like especially because you can get like a 430 or 440 for a couple $100. I wouldn't pay more than $100 for it.
Yeah,
They're
Mhm.
great
somebody in the
nostalgia
comments
pieces.
said, yeah, somebody in the comments
Well,
said
blue
there's a high.
LEDs need to come back. I'm sorry, they
Yes.
do. Like they were so that when I became a ham back in the '90s, like I was on Kenwood rigs from the '80s, and they had the blue LEDs. I definitely want that to come back in some way, shape, or
Mhm.
form.
Yep.
Yeah, the TS520S that I had did not. It just had that dial on it. It did not have a digital display, and you had to pay buku monies to get the digital display, and then it didn't really track the internal display or the internal tuner very well anyway. So I had the whole shooting match at one time, but I still have the TS520, but I don't have any of that other stuff that went along with it.
Right on.
For nostalgia, it's great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'd love to have the old Asden 2 meter rig, the first 2 meter rig that I had in my car. Would I pay you more than about $20 for it? No,
No.
because
Yeah.
it's based on nostalgia and not capability.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I bought a hot water 8 just recently, just because that was literally the first ham radio that I bought. I walked into Heathkit store. They had the display model. They sold me the display, but it's disappeared. I don't know where that radio is. Maybe one day I'll find it, but I wanted one, so I bought one just from R&L the other day.
Picture incoming, Don.
Uh,
Give me like a minute.
But yeah, that's pretty much my first Sirius radio I got. I got a Kenwood 70 centimeters, and I got a Kenwood 2 meters. And now I'm getting this first radio, which is to me is kind of serious because I can work all the bands.
mhm.
But I didn't put that in question that you guys wouldn't pay like $20 for it apparently because it's not for the nostalgia, it's for the capability and the skills that
Well,
you're gonna do.
It depends on how much you paid for it.
Oh no,
yeah.
it's just a gift. It's just an honest
Oh,
gift.
okay.
Oh well then any free radio is a great radio.
Yeah, you scored. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
you
Right. Right.
just to be clear, you're not going to get all the bands on it, but you probably won't miss them. I never did.
Understood. Understood. Thank you though.
The only good thing about the work bands is it's a place to go whenever the contests come on.
Hmm. And well, this doesn't have 60 meters anyway, but yeah, that's
Well, I mean, that might be a blessing, really.
yeah. Well, I don't know because I like 60, but 60 is actually not a work band, but
Right.
we still treat it that way.
I don't. It's
I apologize. It's
Well,
90 meters,
meaning that no
10 to 80
contests on it.
meters.
Right. But when we share that with the military, that's why we don't.
right.
I still FT8 on it. I don't care.
Yeah, but we share 70 centimeters with the military as well, and lots of activity there.
Can you imagine contesting on 5 channels?
No, but
Yes.
they seem to squeeze into everywhere else. I mean, if you get on during contest day, is there even a slice in between any of those guys talking?
Well, I mean,
Not at all.
specifically
It depends on how bad your antenna sucks.
well, I mean, the FCC rules
True.
for using 60 meters prohibits contesting.
We need more bands like that.
What? Channelized?
No, that
contest.
are no contest.
Oh,
And my
nah.
point really is we do not have a nighttime voice band that is no contest other than 60. And 60s, people don't like
80's
60 and they're afraid of
huge.
it.
80's huge.
80 is a contest band.
Yeah, but it's huge.
It's still a contest band. And and 80 is where all of the medical discussions are.
Yeah, but
It's
how
also
many?
where it's also where the traffic nets are.
Are you doing a lot of rag chewing on 80, Don?
I had the trivia contest is on 80. That's fun.
Right on. But I mean, like, they still do it during contest weekends, right?
No, they don't. They usually get clobbered because that upper portion where the nets are is where the contesters like to go. Now, I've honestly in field day, when we have field day, there's not a lot of people on 80. We try to get people on 80 and we just
Right.
can't.
Yeah,
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 but
yeah.
But the way Kyle talks about it, no, they run all night, 80 and 160.
Well, sure, but I don't know. Even on contest weekends, I've had very little issue with 80.
Yeah, if all else fails, just crank up the legal limit and turn your RF gain down so you can't hear them.
No, that's interference, but I get your sentiment.
No, I'm talking about with your local rag chew that they're interfering with.
It's not local. The net that I'm on, that 3916, it's nationwide.
Right. I got to take a quick run to the restroom. There's something. Oh yeah. I don't know if anybody caught it, but sitting on my desk, where did it go? A really fun little piece of kit to talk about. Micro Center. Had to stop by Micro Center to get that solder paste, and I got this little USB stick. And so, right when I came home, I thought to myself, what could I put on this little USB stick? It's double-sided, so you got the USB A and the USB C. And I'm gonna share y'all with this toolkit that I loaded on this this USB stick when I got back, and it's perfect for all of you that have a Jankopotamus or are the unofficial IT for your parents, loved ones, etc. You're gonna absolutely love this this little piece of software that I'm gonna show you when I get back. So, haha, how do you like that teaser? Stick around because I got to go to the restroom. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
So you put Kali Linux on it? Okay.
Nope. Yeah. I hacked the crap out of my family. I steal their identities.
No, Kali is for IT guys to use.
Don, let the man pee.
I know.
Kali Linux is like a pen tester's Linux for sure.
It does all kinds of things. Yes. Including
exactly. Yeah.
Including hacking Windows.
I'll be right back. You guys keep talking. I'll be right back.
I've become anti-Jankopotamus laptop after this weekend.
Well,
bro, I'm a
and
did bro.
Did any of you guys watch KM4ACK's 12-volt Shack?
Yes, I did. But the thing about the Jankopotamus is you're not going to cry if it gets busted.
Well,
yes, I will, and so will the guy that I'm doing a schedule with.
Well, get one of the 12-volt mini PCs. They're better anyway. Faster.
No, I use mine in the field, and I'm not.
So do I.
Monitor and keyboard.
I take that. That's a hell of a lot easier for me than having that damn keyboard on there that barely works. I actually use one of those little tiny keyboards that.
So
I mean, and it with the tiny little Bluetooth keyboards.
So you're bringing a Bluetooth keyboard, a mouse, the PC, and a screen.
It all fits in a little tiny green bag.
See, the problem for me is I only need it for an hour at a time, and that's a lot of setup.
I'm doing
especially if it
POTA
rains.
too. I'm doing POTA too.
Mine's not POTA. I did a satellite pass yesterday, and I had like 5 minutes to work this guy that I had a schedule with, and Windows update took about 30 minutes before the
when
window
that
with
happens.
this guy. And the thing is, I had the laptop on, and it just died while driving. Rebooted and did a Windows update, and this guy that I worked on satellite, he worked Hawaii from England like 34 years ago and never got a confirmation, and he needed it for work to all states. So this guy's waited 34 years for me to make the QSO with him, basically. And Windows update almost killed it.
Now, Eric, that's why you sit there and you make sure everything stays powered up and it doesn't have auto reboot turned on.
Yes, that's why I just said before, like 30 seconds ago, that I had it powered up and it crashed and rebooted.
No.
Yeah, come on, dude. Come on, shipmate. You know better.
Yeah, I
have like
literally,
four of them.
I literally powered it up at my house in my garage and was like, okay, don't do this again, because there was another satellite pass where it rebooted and updated. So I literally powered this thing on, kept wiggling the mouse every 2 minutes while driving 45 minutes to the other side of the island.
Just plug it into power and hit that the battery never turn off and the screen never turn off, and disable Windows Update and just run with it. That's what I do.
You can't disable Windows Update anymore. Even when you disable it, it still happens because mine's disabled.
So don't
I've
let it
literally
get over
had to do the
Wi-Fi.
same thing.
10 or 11.
There are some updates that are going to run no matter what your settings are, so there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, and
It
the
all
crazy
lights
thing
up.
is it did it while on battery. Like Windows updates should never run when you're on battery power ever.
Right.
Well, I mean, if it's a major security update, that will.
Yeah, but what happens if it fails because your battery dies?
They don't care that they bricked your machine.
I'll sit there and I'll hit snooze until later, snooze until I
See,
will purposely snooze.
the problem was there's no snooze. It rebooted on its own.
Okay.
This is sounding like a Windows problem, not a Jankopotamus problem.
Well,
Yeah.
so the
Word.
other problem with Jankopotamus is it actually puts out RFI when I have it on a conductive, like if I have a metal desk, it puts out RFI on 70 centimeters.
So you can.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I keep it near my 9700, and especially if I plug it in, it'll like even if it's off of a 12 volt like a battery, it puts out enough RFI where I can't work IO 117.
Oh my goodness.
Now,
That's
Eric,
ridiculous.
is that Windows 10 or Windows 11?
It's Windows 10, but it doesn't matter.
What does it matter? It's the
the hardware is going to do the
Well-
RFI, but
Well, no, I going back to the update thing. I would think maybe in Windows 11 they disabled the.
We're
do
past
not-
that.
oh yeah, and you can get past the update as well. Just don't let the thing ever connect to the internet unless you want it to.
All right.
So you can disable the update, but you have to go into the registry to force it through a group policy edit, and you have to have, I think, Windows Pro to do it. But
I'm
you
taking it
can
back.
disable the auto update.
I'm taking it back. Sorry, guys.
Thank you.
Let's. I feel for you. By the way, the Jankopotamus is not a good laptop. It's a cheap laptop. It's what do we say about FT8? It's not a low power mode. It's a low signal mode. It's not a good laptop. It's a cheap.
It's definitely not going to be used for critical things like a
No.
5-minute window between Hawaii and Europe.
No, you okay. I'm not to say that it can't do that, but obviously there's some stuff you have to do beforehand. I've obviously mentioned that you should de-bloat your Jankopotamuses. Please de-bloat these computers. They absolutely need to be de-bloated. But so here's the thing I stumbled on. It's called Medicat USB. So what this is this really cool USB stick image that you can load, and it's kind of like it's honestly kind of like the Flipper Zero of like USB stick kind of IT helper solutions. It's a couple of things. It's a script that you run, like a batch file that you run for imaging the USB stick. But then there's also like a 20 gig image file that you need to have on your computer that you then, it pulls from when it's doing the installation. But anyway, I have my Jankopotamus here, right? And I'm going to plug in my little stick, which I got the double-sided one from Micro Center. So I think I've already got the BIOS set up for this. And I don't actually know how it's going to handle this, let me see. Will it pick it up? Let's see if it does. Okay, maybe this will work. We'll see. I don't know when it's going to pick it up. But it should be connected to my computer right now. Maybe. We'll see. Let me just superimpose myself in here. Or not? What is it doing? Come on, bud. Oh, with the HDMI? It doesn't like the HDMI?
And Jonathan Reuter just got his tech license yesterday.
Oh, congratulations, dude. Let's see what... Oh, okay, there we go. So... Interesting.
We lost Josh on
Hello.
the Discord. Okay.
I'm here.
Well, I saw you talking on.
I'm here. Wait, you can't hear me?
Never
Yeah,
mind.
I'm here.
My problem.
No, I'm just trying to get this to boot off of this thumb.
Right, but
of course I got this to do this before we went live. I had a couple of hours that I was tooling around.
Well,
device
see, that's
navigable.
what Eric was talking about when you came back.
What's that?
You know, he was trying to do something, and then something happened, and it was taking a long time.
Yeah, no, they're, like I said, not great computers, but they're cheap. That's what we want. We want
But you
cheap
can
'cause
get a
we're
tough
hams.
book for cheap too.
Not $80 cheap.
No, but I just found one for $100.
And not charging off of 12 volts.
Right, that's
Yeah.
the big thing. For me,
I
the
can't
biggest
get
thing
buck
is
converter.
We don't want buck converters; they're noisy.
See,
Yeah, but that's where you charge it.
So what I use, like when I do contesting and stuff, like if I'm out in the field, I'll use my other laptop, and that charges off a USB-C, and I have a Lenovo car charger,
Mhm.
so it's 65 watts, and I plug that right into the LifePo 4 battery, and that'll charge a regular laptop just fine.
But is it noisy?
Most of them are.
Let's see if I can find out where this is.
Yeah, and I haven't tried some of the cheaper chargers, but at least with the Lenovo, there's no RFI, which is nice.
Shoot, it doesn't shoot it out on it's not sending to the HDMI. Okay, so let's do this a different way.
HDMI. Oh, it's not outputting to HDMI.
Yeah,
I get
it's not outputting. So anyway, so you plug in this USB stick, and it boots to this cool little stick here, and it boots off of this, and so you're literally just able to plug this into just about any computer. You have to go into the BIOS and change it, but you can have an antivirus. So the only thing it has is malware bytes. This is fine, whatever. You can do a backup recovery really fast, so you can do an image, the AOMA backupper. I've used that before. It's just a lot of like stuff like the system recovery tool, stuff that you might use in an IT situation, particularly if you're like dealing with your parents or whatever. Boot repair, bare metal, easy UEFI, Rescatux, Super Grub 2. Like, there's a lot of tools that there's all packed in here. Diagnostic tools, HDAT2, Memtest, Passmark, Sprite, Ultimate Boot CD, live operating system. So it's got lightweight Windows, mini Windows, Active Data Studio, System Rescue, partition tools. So you can do a whole whatever you need to do, although a lot of people don't mess with that, but whatever. Password removal, if you got to do, like, if you got to break into a laptop, not to say you would necessarily be doing that, of course, but you could do it that
That would
way.
be the most handy tool for me.
Yeah.
I use that a lot.
Windows 8, 10, and 11 recovery built in. It's just a really cool little piece of kit. And so this is the 256 Micro Center stick. So that's basically what I'm going to do is just take all my manuals and ham radio files and all that stuff is going to go on here on the extra spaces on the other partition, the open partitions. And that's just going to stay with, any of my radio bag and go bags and all that stuff, because this is super handy, for lots of different stuff. Really, really cool.
And you were talking about the partitioning tools. You know what I do more often than not is try to recover USB sticks that have gone bad. And it's most of the time it's the partition.
Is it really? I didn't know that. How do you?
At least for me, it has been. I mean, when I don't know what my sister and brother-in-law do, but but yeah, I mean, I have to go in and fix the partition table.
But how do you do that? I guess they
on the USB stick.
The tools help you out to let you.
Yeah, it allows you to get to a USB stick's partition table, and a lot of times you'll plug them into Windows. Windows doesn't have a clue what it even is, or it doesn't recognize it, and you have to go in and put a new partition. And that can happen when somebody hits it with a Linux partition, and then you try to get certain Linux partitions off of there, they won't go off.
Interesting.
It won't read a Linux partition.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Same with Mac.
Yeah, the same thing with a Mac. That may be what's going on with some of theirs is they've got Mac. Somebody's formatted a USB stick with Mac partition.
I have definitely done that, but usually intentional because I needed it to go into my Mac.
Yeah, they're getting them from school for some reason, and
I don't like that.
yeah,
I don't like that at all.
I don't pretend to know what they want, but I've been able to get in there and hack through them and find the data they wanted.
We're gonna load up mini Windows 10 real fast just so you guys can see how fast you can get a version of Windows going.
I'm sorry if I didn't take it out of the shrink wrap myself, and it's a USB drive. It ain't plugged
Yeah, right.
into my machine.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
I hear you on that one.
The deal on that is they've got things that somebody's given them that they have to work on, and they can't get to it.
Well, if that somebody provided their computer for them, then that's a different
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
But it ain't plugging into mine.
It's the school system. Yes.
Yeah,
They
so I'll
both
drop
work
the
at
link.
schools, and if you know the school's IT type of people, they're not the smartest in the world.
But by the way, there's a really good video on YouTube that the creator of Medicat created that you can pull up that will run you through how to do the install. But yeah, here you go. There's a Windows 10 Lite number of applications already loaded that you could. So you could do this on, like, you could just plug into somebody's computer without having to, actually log into their computer, whatever. You just run your operating system off of your USB stick on their hardware.
Can you load something on that Windows? I
I don't know.
and
Good question.
store it
On
because
the local on the USB stick.
yeah, and I'm going to turn this around, but if I could do that, I would put Smart SDR on it.
Well, you could. It just depends on your level of capability. You can mount that file system as a loop file system.
Right, but how do you write it back to the
and then,
USB stick?
Well, you add it as a loop file system, and then you write the file system back. It's beyond the scope of the after chat, but look up how to look up loop file systems. It's pretty trivial to do.
Well, I can do that on Linux machines. I do it on servers every day, and I recover servers every day with loopback. But
it's going to be the same thing. So then you create an ISO out of it and write the ISO to the USB stick again.
Josh.
Yeah, no, I saw it. We're good, right? Everything should be good now.
The UEFI utilities. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
See, Don, instead of having a live OS with Smart SDR on it, I'm really hoping that RHR comes out with their interface and allows you to use your Flex like it ought to be used.
Oh, they're never releasing it. Ray's talked about that before. That ain't ever going in the public domain.
And trying to get Flex to do anything, they just say, "Oh, well, you can develop it yourself." And
that's how the whole Mac thing came about. The Mac is developed in Germany by a guy that doesn't have anything to do with Flex.
Yeah, because not having a recorded voice message gets really, really old, and I don't always want to use N1MM.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about there. Yeah. Although I don't typically use my radio that way, but
yeah, I've been trying to up my DX numbers on sideband, so it's I'm saying my call sign a lot lately.
I just get a bigger RAM.
No, I'm trying to do everything barefoot. So got about 150 DXCC right now barefoot, and worked all states 10 through 40.
I like it.
Mhm.
So a couple of things,
Yeah.
guys. I got my dad in town for Thanksgiving, so I'm probably going to wrap up here at 8:30 or a little bit thereafter,
Okay.
just so I can hang out with him because he's in town. But we'll be back again next week, so don't worry about that. So let's take this opportunity. Is there any last questions, particularly on the Discord, that we didn't get to? I want to make sure we get to everybody. Otherwise, we'll see you again next week. And by the way, haha, it's going to be a really good one next week. Randy, not a Rubicon, is joining me again, and
Oh,
we
good.
are going to be talking about using a radio during an emergency without a call sign. We're going to be talking about what does the FCC actually do. We're going to be talking about all the things that I have gotten so many emails and messages from people that's like, Randy's out there saying that you don't need a license to use a radio in an emergency and blah, 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 blah. It's like there's so many people who completely misunderstand this man and his message.
Mhm.
He couldn't be any clearer either on his videos. He's very clear. But people just, they completely misunderstand him and what he's trying to tell them. I don't know
What part
why.
of emergency did you not understand?
I don't know, man, but people
Well-
take what he says and they completely
Oh yeah. I
construe it
I
differently.
love when he talks about sad
Well-
hams.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Like that's one part of the FCC rules that like a lot of people have got confused on.
Mhm.
And it's real funny because people will buy the radio and say, in an emergency, I
Yeah.
can use it.
Right.
But it's like, well, no, now you have intent. You're showing intent that you're going to do this.
Correct. Yeah.
And no way to know how to do it too.
Right. The know-how's not there either. That's the dumb.
That's the
really
real
dumb
problem.
part of it.
Yeah, because they're not going to be useful for anything to anyone because they don't know what the hell they're doing with this radio that they have on a shelf that they've not used. So really what happens is, and you can see it in the people that comment on my videos. I made a video recently on like what actually constitutes an emergency in which you can use a radio. And I got a lot of people, it's like, well, we were talking about like SHTF. In SHTF, you could do whatever you want because there's not going to be an FCC. It's like, well, then you've already built up this narrative that you're going to illegally transmit.
Yeah.
You just need a very special instance where it's okay. And you're telling me that between now and then, you've never turned the radio on? You've never illegally transmitted? BS. I don't believe you.
Well, that's one of my many problems with preppers because they move into that space.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it's always been if you're in immediate danger, threat to life or property.
Not only that, but that you've also exhausted every other normal and legal means of communication at your disposal.
Ding, ding, ding. We've got a
Yeah.
winner.
Yeah.
No, I
yeah,
mean, you know,
and
I
it
would
goes
give you
even
that.
further than that. Like the whole thing at your disposal means the things you're licensed to do.
That's what I
But-
mean. Yeah.
But you know, well, of course, my wife's licensed now, so it wouldn't matter. But you know, if we got in an accident and I'm unconscious and the radio's on, you know, and I had a passenger in there, yeah, they could use it. I think that would be a justifiable excuse.
If
They don't, even if they could find their phone, who knows where their phone is? They don't know if it's broken or what. You know what I mean?
But
That's
it's
the
not a
immediate
matter
thing.
of not knowing where your phone is. The fact that you possessed one and it was technically on the scene and it was not attempted to be used.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna say this.
they're not gonna go after that. If we're in a critical accident and something like that, and I'm knocked unconscious and I'm the driver, yeah.
It comes down to
But it's
prosecutorial
got to be
discretion.
immediate
Correct.
threat.
Okay,
He's 100%
there's
correct.
too many
It will
people.
absolutely
Slow down.
come down to prosecutorial discretion. And I'm telling you right now, in most districts, they'll prosecute.
Okay, hold on. Too many people talking over each other. So just take a minute. Just treat it like a repeater when you're on here. But so the thing is keep in mind that like if this is a ham radio, like nobody really gives a crap. The FCC really doesn't care. But if for some reason the driver of the automobile has a radio that can transmit on a police or first responder frequency, I don't know why. Maybe they are a first responder, and they get in an accident, and the passenger is not lawful to transmit on those frequencies. And they end up being in a situation where the driver needs emergency medical assistance. Most likely, if that person picks up the radio and says, I need medical assistance for Joe police officer, most likely that person will not face any problems. It's true. It's likely not an issue. The reality is that those situations are so hypothetically specific and so rare, it's to the point that talking about it is even a moot point, right? And that's
that's
not what people are talking about on the internet. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about, how do I get to use this thing in a hypothetical situation without getting a license? That's what they want to
Right.
know. That's what it all is.
They're talking about, there's a declared state of emergency, so they
That
should get
doesn't
to
work.
go. And that's not
correct.
No. In
Actually, in a
fact, the
declared
opposite.
state of emergency, our privileges might actually be reduced.
That is also true.
These are people that are just looking for a way to thumb their nose further at government.
Yep.
I think it's probably more where you're going to probably hear it more is with GMRS. You know, you can get a GMRS radio, and do I need to have a license for it? And that's probably where people are trying to push the rules a little bit more.
And FCC doesn't give a damn about GMRS, really. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And the preppers want to put their Baofeng on their plate carrier. That's really what they want to do.
That's what they want to do. Yes, you got it, man. You got it. Somebody says they got a question unrelated to all this nonsense. We'll talk about this. Trust me, we'll talk about this a lot next weekend because Randy will be on, and this will be the topic. So don't worry, we're gonna hit this hard. Someone says they got a quick question, waiting for a moment to break in. It only shows your name. Your username is B ... So this is your opportunity. Go for it. Jump in. You said you got a question, man. Go for it. Trying to talk. Well, you probably
Make
have
sure you
to...
set up your PTT.
Yeah, you got to go into your settings and set your microphone and speaker.
Yeah, it's showing Bricker House.
Type quick, buddy.
Type quick. We're running out of time.
The man's on a clock.
While we're waiting for that, how loaded is your buffer going to be after Saturday with Randy and all that?
How low's my buffer going to be? What do you mean?
Loaded.
Loaded. Yeah, how loaded.
I can't wait.
We're
getting into it, man. We're getting into it hard because, so I think there's a fundamental. I think there are a lot of hams who believe that I am like Johnny Rule Boy and Randy is anti-rules, and I actually think that he and I are like way more towards the middle, like together. Because I think people are totally misconstruing his argument, and I think they're not listening to me when I make my statement. Like, I made videos multiple times talking about these subjects, and people still make the most inane comments on like, well, this is how it's all supposed to go. It's like, you're coming up with all this BS from nowhere. Like, it's all written down. Just read what's written down. It's not hard. But, yeah. Anyway.
People don't read.
Okay, so here we go. The question, let's see if I can pull it up. Here it is. Bricker Haas asks, just bought a Bio-NO battery for my new FT891. Peak is 23 amps. Bio-NO is only 12 amps sustained. Can I run full power on FT8? Probably not. Wait, 23 amps for the FT891 to get 100 watts out? Right?
I think that's what it's rated at, but I've never pulled it. 23 amps.
I doubt you're pulling 23 amps to get 100 watts
The
out.
other thing is too, right? You can't run FT8 at full power. You need to back it off.
Well,
yeah.
Who says you can't run it? Oh, you mean on a battery?
No, I mean
on the radio.
On the radio, I won't do that.
I run 100 watts.
I do.
I do 20 or 50 watts, and I don't have any trouble making
running
contact
100 watts.
Anything, I would argue anything. So the A91 is a slightly older radio, but like any of the newer radios, oh, buddy, I'm 100%, 100 watts all the time. 7300, my 7610, absolutely, go nuts.
I ran 8 hours straight at 100 watts during the ARL DX contest on the 7300.
Hell
So
yeah.
to the Brickerhouse guy, are you doing this for soda, POTA?
Wait. Hold on. So let's just answer this question first and then dive in deeper. Can I run full power in FT8? Likely no. But here's the thing. Okay. So Brickerhouse, you're not going to hurt your radio if you just try it. Go out, test it, and then you will know the answer. The reality is that likely you'll probably get about 60 watts output. I think is probably going to be your max. I'm guessing. But you could probably go test it, because what you really need to do, and I don't have it on my desk, but you ever see my little inline power meter where I show the amp draw and the watts that I'm pulling and all that stuff? You need to do that and actually then stimulate the radio to draw the full power to put out the full output. That's
Best
what you really need
$14
to do.
you'll ever spend on that device.
Yeah, for sure. You need to do that, so then you know if it's possible or not, and then you could be like, yeah, 12 amps, no problem, should be good. But it's a 12 volt Bioenno battery, but you should get higher amp output.
Jody pasted a chart, and that's right.
Yeah, you're probably going to get some decent voltage sag with a 12 amp hour battery as well. Even with my 100 amp hour pulling 100 watts, after a couple hours, I was starting to get only about 75 watts out.
There you go.
Because the voltage was sagging.
Yeah, so let me get this over on the main screen.
I thought the LiFePo batteries don't sag though.
Josh, no, they hold their voltage until they're relatively empty. But if you draw a lot of current, the voltage will sag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
And
there
then
you go.
As soon as you're done transmitting, you'll get your it'll go back up.
That is a fantastic chart, by the way. I love that. Whoever put that together.
I don't know if I buy that though.
That's probably closer than not. 80 watt or 80 watt output for 12.3 amp. That's probably pretty accurate.
But is that sideband or is that FTA?
Oh, good question. No, it does, because that's so full duplex is going to be not full duplex. Full duty cycle is going to be FT8 when you're transmitting, and that you might not get 80 watts output. Jody?
Get 100 watts out. It's like 21 amps.
Now, so tell me what I'm thinking wrong. When you're pushing a tone out of a USB port, it's still just like you talking, other than your peaks, because it's solid peak the whole time. But when you hit that peak of 13 amps when you're talking, that's about as loud out as the tone is, right?
100% modulation.
But the tone
No. The 100% modulation just means you're pushing it for 15 seconds. It doesn't mean that you're pushing more than the 13 amps at that time.
I can tell you
100% modulation is CW. That's full continuous carrier.
Right.
I mean, my DX10 when I'm doing FT8, it'll show that I'm running about 20 amps.
Yeah. So just to go back to the question, to get to the root of it, just so you get the best information. Here's what you do: is set up the radio. If you don't have a CW key, like a straight key, set up the radio to just PTT, like just a dead key, right? Just to hold down the CW, and then test the power output. Or if you have a power meter, put a power meter on the outbound side of it, dead key the radio on that battery, and see what your max power output is. It might go up and down, it might flutter, and so then you might have to start dialing it back, walking it back until you find where that sustainable output is. Try 80 watts, as I would start with Jody's list, actually, and see if you could bump it up a little bit. But the reality is, and so here's where I'll leave you with the reality. The reality is that you should probably figure out whatever your maximum is, just so that you know, but then probably run half of that, because you want your battery to last for a while, right? And so you might want to start at half of that to see if you can just get your activation done, so you're just not blowing through your battery. Because a 12 amp hour battery on a 100 watt radio, if you're running it, 80 watts or whatever, you're going to actually blow through that in relatively short order.
Yeah, if you're not soda, if you're POTA, then get yourself a 50 or 100 amp hour battery. They don't weigh that much more. They're not that much larger.
Yeah.
I just got a 100 amp hour battery delivered yesterday. It weighs less than 20 pounds.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Renology battery, was it? Or Renogy?
No. I got a
it's
Redodo.
Here's I bought this. So this is the battery that what did I buy? It's a 50 amp hour, 12 volt, 50 amp hour from Gigaparts. I bought this. This is a really good
That's
battery.
crazy how you're lifting that. That's
It-
just amazing.
Yeah, 50 amp hour. I can
It weighs
literally
about
look.
10
I'm literally.
pounds.
Oh, I know. But just think about the same size
Yeah.
battery that
Oh
it
yeah,
was, you know, lead
if this is a
acid.
sled,
That's
Oh yeah,
crazy.
That's
and
a great battery. I'll see if I can find
yeah,
it on my gig. They put it. I think they put it on my Giga
the
page. I don't know.
the
The thing to think
Redodo.
about with is if you get double the amp hour capacity that you need, then you've got that reserve as far as continuous draw. If you want to go FT8 all day long, you know, and you know your radio is going to draw 20 amps, all right, well, get yourself a 50 amp hour battery so you're only drawing half of what the capacity of the battery is, and the battery's not sweating it.
Yeah, and if you're out POTA, run 20 watts or 30 watts. Yeah, don't run 100
Oh yeah, you
watts
don't need
like
to.
the
Yeah.
rest of us guys
Mhm.
that are crazy.
That's what I was saying a minute ago.
Okay,
But
so there's two. There's a 24 amp model, and then there's a 50 amp model, and they're not cheap, no question. So the one I have, the 50 amp hour, is like $280. So it's not cheap, but it's a good battery. It's a really good battery, and it's got the power meter on the top of it. And yes, again, I paid for this. I bought it.
the Redodo Mini,
not good on
100 amp, is $225, right?
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of my batteries, LifePo 4 for my RV a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I am kicking myself because the RV LifePo 4 ones that I got were like $1,200 a piece for 100 amp hour. And
Whoa.
I mean, it's nice because I'm sleeping 2 feet above it. You know, you want a good battery, but those same batteries are like $400 now.
Yeah, that's a big
really?
drop,
Wow.
isn't it? That's like a third of the price. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I bought the most high-end ones that I could because I was living in the RV for a while. So, and I was literally sleeping 2 feet away from them. So it was okay to buy the expensive ones, but now they're a third the price.
I can't be doing no battery called a Redodo. I ain't
So the
about that
battery,
life.
the Power Queen that I got, the 100 amp hour that I
like
got, weighs 11 pounds, and I paid $225 for it.
And you know, if they come down a little more, I probably will jump in and get one of those decent batteries. I need one, you know. God knows.
Well,
for Aries
if
even.
only you knew what Renogy was selling them for.
Dawn, no.
So
thing is,
never forget. Never forget.
No,
K-
I'm never going to.
KM4 OOS, just bring an electric generator. Come on. I have an electric generator. I like my my Yamaha generator, but to be honest with you, for amateur radio stuff, the LifePo batteries way better than running a generator because you throw a nice solar panel on that thing. It's like simple power. It's clean. It works really easy. You can run all day without ever dipping your battery if you got a good enough panel, and then you run way into the evening. No noise, no gas, none of that stuff. It's just simple. So simple.
Extra points for field day too if you do solar.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Jason's doing an awful lot of that kind of stuff on his channel.
Oh, his his other channel he has?
Yeah, Unplugged. And
Unplugged,
he's got that, and I can't remember, EcoFlow. Yeah, he's got those two big EcoFlows.
Yeah.
And then he's added two $2,000 extra batteries to it. And he said he can run his RV almost a week on that thing.
Yeah, but no AC though.
Yeah, so high draw stuff.
It's not this. The AC is not 12 volt.
He can warm up a couple of burritos in the microwave, and then he's going to be done.
Yeah, I found out the hard way when I lived in San Diego, and I drove my RV to Phoenix in, I think it was July.
Yeah.
And I pulled over in Yuma to get gas, and it was 105 degrees at midnight.
Yeah. Well, he's out there right now doing the hunting stuff. So it's not hot, or it's not hot in Texas right now. You're more likely to need the heater than you are air conditioning.
Yeah, unfortunately, the bad thing for me is getting batteries here in Hawaii right now is it's so difficult.
You can't just Amazon?
Everything costs more in Hawaii because you got to ship it all in.
But like, can you get Amazon?
Yeah, it's so hard to get them here. Now, even Amazon sometimes has restrictions to like the Big Island and everything. It's really, really hard.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because lipo on flights is bad.
I've bought 2 batteries from Chins, the 100 amp hour, because they were the only place they didn't have the we won't ship to you. And I figured, okay, I'll pay the $90 for shipping and they'll just refund the money when they don't show up. And 2 days later I had the batteries on my doorstep.
Oh, that's cool. Good for you.
I was gonna say, aren't the lifepos aren't restricted on flying, are they?
Oh yeah, very much.
Oh
so.
yeah.
It's based on energy density, not the chemistry.
Well, it's
Say that
based off
again?
of off of
Energy
whether
density.
it's based off of whether the crew can get to it and put out a fire. If the
Well-
answer
well,
is if it's a part of the shipping and they can't access it, it's not flying.
Yeah,
But I mean-
and I didn't
But-
think about it when I
but
bought them
The
because
restriction of going on board the aircraft is based on the energy density of the battery.
yeah,
So
but
Is that a
the
logical
restrictions
thing
based
to go
off
by,
of
though?
passenger flight versus cargo is not the same.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the point. That's the point
Well,
I'm trying to get
FedEx
to. Is if
isn't
you...
going on a passenger plane.
All right.
Yeah,
All right, I'm
so-
done. All right, I'm done. Guys, I'm going to head out. I'm going to go hang out with my dad. You guys take it easy.
So me too, Josh.
You guys keep talking. I just got to go.
Thanks,
So
Josh.
you hang out. Have fun.
Hey,
Answer
Josh.
questions. Yes, sir. Go
Happy
ahead.
belated Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Sorry,
thank you. I hope everybody had a
All right.
wonderful Thanksgiving and
And
you all
everybody else,
gave
too.
thanks.
I'll be around.
All right, you guys take
Have
it
fun
easy.
with your dad, Josh.
All right, take it easy, guys. I'll talk to you later. See ya.
Take care.
All right, everybody on the YouTubes, thanks so much for watching. Go avail yourself of my Gigaparts link. The link in the description to my Amazon store still has all the Black Friday deals. They're still good. So I've got a couple of the satellite communicators showing up, so look forward to videos on that. I hope that I can actually get some videos out on those before Christmas because I'm hoping that there's a couple of things, like I think you've got a pretty good idea of what I care about is one, you get first aid training and you carry a first aid kit, and two, you have communication available that's actually useful in an emergency. I've mentioned that APRS I think is usable in an emergency. We know Mike Kate, our MRD, doesn't believe that, but I think it still is. But with that said, I think we can do even better. And so I think we're going to hit on some of these satellite communicators, at least figure out like what the best one is for your money. And I want to share that with you in the future. So take a look at the links in the description for this video and join us on Discord if you haven't already. Would really love for you to join us. All right. I'm Josh KI6NAZ. Take it easy. Oh, you know what? Jesus. Okay, question. This might be a dumb question, but my dad bought some sealed lead acid batteries he ain't using for a wheelchair. Could I use those for my radios in the future? Absolutely. They're just going to do this. Like, the more you use them, they're going to go until they die. Lithium ion and LifePose will just kind of carry. They'll slowly degrade, and then they'll kind of hit a point, and they'll just bloop, and then drop off. Sleds are just like, they just constantly go down. Sleds, we call them sealed lead acid or sleds. They're just the older style. If they're free, though, to you, what the hell? Why not? Use them. All right. That's it. Take it easy, guys. I will say a big hearty thank you. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. More fun stuff on the way. Have a great, great, great relaxing time with your Sunday before you got to get back to whatever it is you're doing. 73. Take it easy. Hey, my little outro's not playing. All right, well, that's it. Meme it up, take it down.